Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Exam Tricks and Tips. If you're preparing for data analytics specialty exam and would like to clear this exam with ease, then you come to the right place. This channel is dedicated to help cloud learners pass cloud certification exams efficiently with flying colors. And today, I'm going to start a new series called Data Analytics Specialty. This is a specialty exam from AWS, and it's a very tough exam. Professional and specialty exams require a lot of effort, a lot of preparation from anybody who would like to clear this examination. The scope for this exam, the topics, it's quite vast. Also, the depth that is expected for you, depth of knowledge that is expected from the candidate, it's pretty complex and deep. The questions, scenarios are very complicated. They involve multiple services, and it's very difficult to find the correct answer when you are going through the examination. I've recently done this course and certified uh, got the certification for AWS data analytics. And in my experience, the journey was very difficult. But I have, through the process, I have learned few lessons. I've acquired a lot of material through my research, and I would like to make this available to the cloud learners who's going to, watch these videos and make your journey easier. When I was preparing for this exam, I found that there's not a lot of support available if you're doing cloud practitioner or associate, or for that matter even solution architect professional level exam. There's a lot of material available, a lot of guidance available from many subject matter experts. But when it comes to specialty examinations like data analytics or machine learning or security specialist uh, specialty exam, there is not a lot of information or guidance available. So I've decided to help anyone who is going to do data analytics exam through these video series. It's going to be a multi-part series. Today is the first video, and in today's video, uh, we'll look at uh, overview of the course of this particular subject, data analytics, a few tips about how would you go about prepping for this exam, and then we'll dive into the actual questions. Through this series, I'll be covering hundreds of questions. It's going to be multi-part series, as I told you earlier, and we'll go through each question and arrive at the right answer by eliminating the wrong answers, looking at all the requirements from the question, eliminating wrong answers, and then choosing the right most appropriate correct answer from the remaining options. Uh, and while we are doing that, obviously we'll go over concepts, AWS services, we'll learn about those. So even if you get one answer, we'll probably go over 4 to 5 concepts during each of the question. And when you completely go through these videos and understand all the tricks, tips, thumb rules, and how I arrive at the question answer, you'll be able to pass this exam very easily. So this particular slide, basically it's a exam guide for AWS data analytics, a bit of um, basic uh, guidance around the exam. It's a 180 minutes examination. The cost is $300. It's got 65 questions. And if you go to the link that I have put here, and I'll be putting all of these links in the video description as well for you to access easily. Then you will be able to understand what's in the scope of this particular course, as well as uh, 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 let's talk about how would you prep for this course. So I would strongly recommend Stephen Marek's Udemy course. It's an amazing course. He's collaborated with Frank Kane on this particular course. uh, their knowledge on the subject is great. The subject uh, content itself is very good. Stefan is got many courses on AWS certification exam on Udemy, and I highly recommend it. In addition to that, the best source would be AWS documentation, where you could learn about various services, what they do. There are some links that you would be interested in while going through the questions as well, which will talk about troubleshooting or a particular key feature of a particular service that is linked to a particular question. So AWS documentation, that's the second bit I would recommend, and combine all of this with my videos, my video series that I'm starting today. I'll be going through, as I said, all the questions, hundreds of questions, and I'll teach you a method of how to arrive at the correct answer by way of elimination, and then choosing the right answer from the available options based on the knowledge that you have got and based on what we'll be going through in this video series. So 1, 2, 3 Udemy course, AWS documentation, and my video series is more than sufficient for you to pass this exam with flying colors. I have another slide on Stefan's course. Again, this is not an advertisement. This is a genuine recommendation. In my cloud learning experience, I have this is the only tutor I've followed, and I found that to get the foundational level knowledge of every course, his series is our best. There is hands-on labs as well, which are good, and then you can relate to these topic areas um, more easily with when you go through the hands-on labs. So I'll be placing a link for AWS documentation as well as Stefan's course in my video. Again, this is not an advertisement, but I genuinely recommend his uh, training courses for AWS, and especially for data analytics, where there is not much available out there. Uh, and while one of the tip I would give you is obviously Stefan covers a lot of AWS material, and then the course itself is quite modular. So when you will actually see the course, there are like 100 plus small lectures, and those lectures are categorized by various topic areas: S3, Redshift, Glue. Now, some of the topics are general, which you might have done during associate examination or during practitioner examination. Uh, so you can just brush through those, but anything that is very focused on data analytics, like data analytics tools, the Redshift, Glue, lake formation, security around all the data analytics tool, all of those topics, I would recommend you to kind of go over again and again and make sure you understand them well. During these videos, I think there are some sections where they are also discussing a few exam questions, and that's quite helpful. So yeah, a thumbs up for Stefan's course. Let's move on. Now we are going to dive into problems and questions, and we'll solve them. But before we just go over them, I'll give you an overview of how we are going to solve this problem. So step one will be, these questions are quite big. We'll read the questions and we'll mark the keywords, identify the requirements. Each of the keywords uh, will have certain requirement which needs to be fulfilled by the options that are available. Step two, most of these problems will require, you won't directly know the answer based on the requirements. You will have to kind of eliminate the option based on, uh, and mostly you will, these questions come with like 4 options. So you'll be able to eliminate 1 or 2 wrong options by picking up a very important requirement from the question. The step 3 would be then to go through whatever is remaining options and then choose the best options from that remaining set that satisfied the requirement. And that's not it. You have to then revalidate your chosen answer. Now you can look at whatever answer you have taken. If you look at all the options again after, does it make sense? You have to revalidate it, and then only you can move on. And standard, all of these proctored examinations, standard trick is if you don't know the answer, you can mark it, come back, flag it, come back to it again. But that's just generic how to approach the exam. Okay, so the next bit we're going to do is we're going to straight away dive into questions. The way I would go over question is, I'm not going to read all the questions for you. That you can do at your own time. You can pause the slides, pause this video, and then go through the question. I'll move on to the next step. As we said, identify the requirement. For maybe question 1, I'll read it, but then question 2 onwards, I will straight away go into identifying the keywords and the requirements from that question. So this question, it's talking about a financial service organization that must collect daily stock trading data for exchanges and store it in a data warehouse. The organization needs data to be streamed directly into data repository, but allows SQL-based data modification on occasion. The solution should incorporate complicated analytic queries that execute with at least amount of delay, and the solution must include a business intelligence dashboard. Now, you can actually see, couple of keywords there, and those are complicated analytic queries, the delay needs to be minimum, and the business intelligence dashboard is needed. So business intelligence dashboard would obviously mean QuickSight, and I think we can see QuickSight in almost every option. So that's there. So that's not going to help you eliminate any of these options to a smaller set. But if you look at the first highlighted keyword, complicated analytic queries, complex queries, you need a database like Redshift. I think that's a big clue, and that will help you eliminate option B and D. because B and D both do not have Redshift. So if you look at the first keyword, complicated analytic query, then you will realize that that's a big clue here. So for running complex queries, you need a solid database like Redshift. Now, which options? Some of these options do not have Redshift at all. So if you look at option 1, option A doesn't have Redshift, option D doesn't have Redshift, and that is going to help you eliminate option A and D because they don't use Redshift. We need to run complex queries, so those are the incorrect options. So you're straight away down to now 2. You have left with option B, option C. Now both the options have Redshift in it. Both have QuickSight in it. The first one is using Kinesis data streams, and the second one is using Kinesis data firehose. Now, first of all, this is not a real-time application, so we don't need Kinesis data streams. It'll be costlier to use a service that you don't need. However, the other point here is Kinesis data streams cannot stream data into Redshift directly, and that basically eliminates that option. And what we are left with is option C: use Kinesis data firehose to stream the data into Redshift, and then use QuickSight dashboard for reporting. And I think that's the answer. Option C is the answer for question number 1. And you realize how we have used that process that we just discussed in previous slide of step 1, 2, 3, 4. Identify keywords, eliminate the wrong option based on the keywords that you identified and the requirements that are there in the question. Then choose the best available option from the remaining answers. So that's how we'll go about it. Let's move on to the next question. So next question, you can pause the video and read through it and identify your own keywords. All right, I hope you have read through the question. Now, if you see, what are the keywords here? So it's a streaming application. It's reading data from hundreds of shards. Amazon Athena is being used, and there is degradation in query performance. So we need to basically solve this problem. We need to improve the query performance. Now, this question actually is not of the type that you need to eliminate. You know the answer, but I think we will still follow our standard process and go through the way of elimination. Now, if you look at option C and D, C, writing multiple files to multiple S3 buckets, that's not going to improve your query performance. You are basically writing your S3. It might help with quicker writing, ingesting data. Same thing is with adding more memory and CPU to the streaming application is not going to do anything with Athena's query performance. So C and D are straight away no, they are not going to help with query performance, so they are out. Increasing, look at option B, increasing the shards. Again, it's sort of similar to C and D. It doesn't do anything with query performance. It will improve obviously the writing of data, ingesting the data into this destination, but it's not going to help again with the actual query performance for Athena. So we are left with option A, and that's the correct option. Merging the files to form a bigger file can help optimize and improve the query performance. So if you go through AWS documentation, you will find that top tips for Amazon Athena. There is an article about it, and I'll put a link in the video description for this particular question with the question number next to it. And you can find out there are various tricks that you can use Amazon Athena, and you can improve the query performance. Bringing it in. So you can see various tricks you can use: partitioning the data, choosing the right bucketing your data, and using compression, optimizing the file size. So this is a section that I would like to bring your attention to. So it's not always small or large. It's you have to optimize the file in this particular case because we are using hundreds of shards. The performance of the query is not optimum, and the right solution is to basically merge the files to form the larger files. So the answer is A. Question number 2, answer is A. Let's move on to the next question. I hope you have paused the video and read through the question. Let's look at the keywords. So in this particular example, there are millions of customers. Data is being saved into S3 data lake. Anomalies are required to be found. There are some historical records going back to 2 years. and there are numerous parameters for data flow logs, including dates, timestamps, source IP, destination IP, etc. And what we want to do is how do we get the best performance from this data? Now, what you need to look at all the options, option A, B, C, D. If you look at option B and D, you will see both are not using columnar data storage. So they are both row based. And in case of data analytics, where terabytes of data is available, columnar data storage is the most useful format. Parquet is one of those, ORC is one of those. Now, based on that fact alone, we can eliminate B and D. So B and D do not use columnar data storage format, hence we eliminate that. So what we're left with is A and C. A has ORC, and in C, it's using Apache Parquet format. And then there is partitioning in both of the options. Now, Parquet is the best columnar format. However, if you look at this option, the partitioning is first done by IP and sorted by date. That's not the correct way of doing. First, you need to sort by date to organize your data in a better way, and then you can sort it by any other parameter that you have, a product parameter, in this case source IP. So that basically leaves us with option A. So it's catering to all three requirements. It's using the columnar data storage, and it's partitioning by date and then source IP, and that's the optimum way of partitioning your data in S3, and that will give you best performance. So when the queries happen, obviously you got columnar data, so that's going to give you thumbs up, good performance. And then because it's done sorted by date, it will be easier for querying over those partitions, and then sub partitions are happening at IP level. So answer for question 3 is option number A. Use the ORC partition and sort it by date and then by IP. All right, let's move on to next question. So in this question, let's go through the keywords. So keywords is there are CSV files being uploaded to S3 data bucket. There are lots of services involved here. AWS Glue job is involved. It's doing column mapping and inserting data into Redshift tables. And the problem statement is there are duplicates records are being introduced in Amazon Redshift table. And the solution that you need to provide is how to insert it without duplicates. So that's your kind of problem statement. You got 4 options. This is a difficult question. As you can see, it's very difficult to gauge what your answer will be. So let's go by process of elimination. So what the requirement here is, we want to drop duplicate. If you look at option D, it has nothing to do with removal of duplicate. The resolve choice feature in the AWS Glue is used to cast data to an unidentified data type to a specified data type. So that's when Glue crawls all the data, and then it doesn't figure out what to do with the data type. This is when it is used. It does not handle duplicates. So option D is gone. It's nothing to do with duplicates. It's to do with data type conversion. If you look at option C, Apache Spark. First of all, why would I use Apache Spark in this solution? But even if I use it, Apache Spark drop duplicates. Yeah, it does sound like it's something to do with duplicates, but this API is to drop duplicates in Spark, not in the destination DB. So this option is wrong as well. This will not solve the problem of records in Redshift with duplicates. How do you remove it? So that now leaves us with option B and A. If you look at B, that's the next option I'll go to. MySQL you cannot use for this kind of options. So it's strictly no. So option B is ruled out for that reason. And option A, now this appears to be a right option. So what we can do is have a staging table, and in the staging table, you can do the queries, SQL queries, and make sure that data is merged with the main table, and that's how you remove the duplicates. So that's how we arrive at the question. If you now look at all the options again, does it look right? Yeah, we can see option D is nothing to do with duplicates. Option C, it's uses Spark, and it will, it will sort out duplicates at source, not at the destination. We have a problem in the destination Redshift database. So the only option that we have is option A. That's going to help us do queries with the main table and eliminate duplicates from Redshift table. So yeah, let's look at next question. Question number 5. Please read this question. You can pause the video. I'll move on to quickly then identifying requirements. So in this question, the key requirements I have highlighted, Amazon QuickSight is being used, data stored in S3 buckets, AWS site is uh, reading the data from Amazon Athena as a visualization tool. And the problem that happens here is the import into Spice has failed, and how do we fix this situation? Now, this is not really the 1, 2, 3, 4 step kind of a equation. You need to really know the answer. You really need to know the subject. Now, why would an import would fail? And generally, it's basically the permissions, and you can see all the options having permissions. But then permissions to what? Permissions, yeah, it has to be permissions to S3 bucket. QuickSight needs to have permissions to S3 bucket, and that needs to be edited from QuickSight console. It's not about glue data. It's not about S3 console. It's about QuickSight. You need to go into QuickSight console and give permission to the right permission to the S3 buckets, and that will solve the problem. So this is one of those where you would know the answer from the question directly. You don't have to really go through elimination. But yeah, you need to know the subject matter very well in order to, you cannot just guess the answer as well. So yeah, question number 5, answer is B, correct answer. And that brings us to end of this particular video. I will be creating a multi-part series. So in my next video, part 2 of this data analytics specialty, I'll be creating more questions, going through them and arriving at the answer. If you want to be kept up to date with new videos, please subscribe to my channel, Exam Tricks and Tips. And thank you for watching this video. If you like the content, like the effort that I'm putting in creating this content to help you guys, please like and subscribe to my channel. Subscription is great for YouTube content creators. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.